Hello guys and gals, this is Josh Richter here. I'm going for video number 3. I'm sure I'll stop counting at one point. But today I wanted to kind of throw out there the keyword control. How much of it do we have? How much of it don't we have? In life in general, personally, all of the above. My personal opinion is honestly the answer to that is both opposites. We have very little to no control, and we also have a lot more control than you think. And I'll elaborate. First of all, for the not a lot of control at all, we really don't have a lot of control over the universe, what flows, what's going on around us right now. At any given time, we have absolutely no control over. I have absolutely no control over the weather. I have no control over the color of this place unless I paint it. Like, there's so much that we don't have control over. How people feel, other people feel, how other people act, how other people are as people. We have no control over that. But on the opposite side, we have a lot more control than we think when it comes to us personally. And what I mean by that is you have control over how you react to a situation. You have control over how you choose to perceive a situation or perceive yourself in that given situation. You have so much control over you. No one else has control over you but yourself. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. And I know I have. There's been a lot of situations where I've lost sight of not only who I was, but the control that I had over myself. I thought that I was just going with the flow. And there's a point to be made for that, going with the flow, because a lot of people kind of just go with the flow. They do what is comfortable. They coincide with their ego, and they just go. They just work their job. They do what they got to do to get through life, and that they're just going with the flow. And those people, and there's a lot of them, and I've been that person several different occasions, they lose sight of the fact that they have a lot of control over themselves. We do. We have an absolute a lot of control over who we are, what we do, how we react, how we feel, what we present ourselves, the vibes we give off. We have a lot more control over that, and I think a lot of people choose to believe or believe. The universe as a whole has, like I said in the beginning, we have no control over the universe as a whole, but to trust it is a whole different level. Because if we don't have control over it, I would think your best bet would be to trust it, to trust the universe. Do you really think that the decision process, and I'm going to give credit to Alan Watts. I have referenced him before. He's a fantastic philosopher. I love listening to him. If you've never heard of him, look him up. He has so many different autobiographies on YouTube. Brilliant man. He really just kind of he just got it. And I love listening to him. But a point that he made is the decision process that we as people make. I know for a fact that a lot of people, when you come up with a decision, you do a lot of thinking about it, or you don't. It's sporadic. It could be either or. But when the decision process is made, do you really think where do you think it comes from? Do you think it comes from inside, outside? Is it influenced by? Bottom line is, at the end of the day, the decisions you make come from something. And I like to believe that it comes from the universe itself. And it's interesting how, even if it might not even be relevant, the decision you make, if it's the lunch you had this afternoon, if you're going to decide to be in a relationship, if you're going to decide to take this turn instead of that, every decision you make on a daily basis, and we make a lot, I think comes from our inner self, and that inner self being the universe itself. To trust that, and it's against everyone's human nature to give up and trust. You know how hard, I personally do, and I know a lot of people do, have trust issues. Why wouldn't you? You're trusting somebody else with something that a lot of people can't even trust themselves with. And that's a lot. But to trust the universe, okay, that might be a little wacky, but I mean, allow me to at least try to elaborate. It's interesting how in a lot of ways things just kind of level themselves out. It kind of works out. And it might take a while, it might take several years, but things kind of seem to level out sometimes. Even if you make a dicey decision and you didn't like that decision, there's a lot of situations, at least in my personal life, that I've made a decision I didn't necessarily like, and then I look back on it years later and say, you know what, I'm glad I made that decision, because of that decision, I'm now here. You know, I mean, you kind of know what I'm getting at. And to trust the universe as a whole, because we, as people, are connected to the universe as a whole. We're all interconnected somehow. It's all interlinked. It's all flawlessly put together, and it's beautiful. But to trust that is a big step, and it's a step a lot of people have never taken. And those who do take it, I'm not saying I have, I'm still in the works of it, don't get me wrong, but to have that mentality, to kind of think in that kind of general direction of how the universe has an influence over the things you can't control, it all kind of works out. So to trust it, question mark, can you? If you do, how does that make you feel? I'm at a point in my life now where I kind of just, I trust God, I trust the universe, I trust everything that's going around me, because it's out of my control. So stressing yourself to try to control something you have no control over, pretty redundant, right? At least I would think. If you can't control something, why stress over it? And if there's something that kind of has an influence on the things you can't control, trust it. See where I'm kind of getting at there? You would have a better understanding of life, and I would think happier as a whole on a daily basis, instead of worrying about it. Oh my God, what's going to happen next? There's two ways of looking at it. You can look at it as, oh my God, like what's going to happen next? I'm scared like of what's going to happen next. Or, oh man, what's going to happen next? This is an adventure. No one knows what's going to happen next. No one's been there. We only know the past. We only know what has already happened. And so every step we take in the future is new terrain. It's crazy. Every step we take in the future is new terrain. And how much control do we have over what happens next? We don't. We only have control of how we react to the things that happen to us. Because no matter what, it's happening. It's not like it's even happening to us. It's just happening, and we're there to experience it, you know? And how we react to that is solely up to us. That's solely our control. That's why we have so much more control than a lot of people think, because we can control how we react to the circumstances that happen around us. Everybody can. And obviously circumstances are different for each person, and each circumstance might be a little harder than others, but we still have the control over how we as humans react to it. Can't really control how we feel, I don't think, but action we have control over. I can throw my phone across the room right now if I wanted to. I have control over that. Turn the TV on, just start watching TV, and you can watch me watching TV. It can happen. We have that kind of control. And so getting into that mentality, I would think it's just an easier way to go about things. Have the mentality that things I can't control, I trust it'll work out. The things I can control, I'm going to control it. And you can lead by example in that way. And I think that's how people become happy. Because I believe, and I can't stress this enough, guys, I believe that there is such thing as a life of happiness. Of course, there's not going to always be a high. Every high has its low. But it's all about how you perceive things. And I said that in my last video. It's all about how you perceive not only yourself, but the circumstances around you. That dictates your attitude. That dictates your reality. And I believe that there is a reality where you're just, there's happiness, there's love, there's no stress, And I believe that that's possible in our mortal lives that we live today. I've been feeling it, and ever since I've kind of listened to Alan Watts a lot more and read these books that I'm definitely going to review on this channel after I finish them, it's all about how you choose to look at things. And it's our choice how we want to look at things. It might not be when we're low and you're like, oh my gosh, everything's going wrong. I have absolutely no control. And I've been there. It sucks. But if you begin to believe the truth, and the truth, in my opinion, is that you can control how you react, and the things you can't control, you can't control. So don't worry about it, and take that next step. Maybe even trust it. I'm religious. You don't have to be religious. It's the same deal. It's the same deal. If it's the universe, if it's God, if it's whatever you want to believe, it's all the same thing. It's out of your control regardless. The things you can't control, simply out of your control. So worrying about it is just putting unnecessary stress on yourself. And believe me, when you are in that situation where you are worrying about everything, someone says you're just putting extra stress on yourself, you're like, thanks, no duh. Believe me, I've been there. But I'm sitting here telling you now, it is true that worrying about things you simply cannot control is unnecessary stress. It's relevant, the things you can't control. It's there. Relative. I keep saying relevant. It's relative. It's relative. It's general. It's just there. It's happening. It's not happening to you. It's just happening. You happen to be there while it's happening. It could be with someone you care about. It could be a car accident you have no control over that you're watching or you're a part of. There's so many variables, and it's all relative. It's happening. It's out of your control. All you can control is how you react to it and how you choose to go on with the circumstances that have happened to you, the experiences that have happened to you. And just food for thought. Think of it that way. Know the things you can control. Accept the things you can't control. And go on knowing that everything's going to be okay if you believe it's going to be okay. What you put into the earth and what you put into yourself, you're going to get out. So if you sit there and say, I'm not going to be okay, I'm depressed, I'm upset, I'm this, I'm that, then you're going to be. But if you say, if your mentality about it changes, yes, I'm upset, but I'm going to get past it. I'm going to do the things I need to do, whatever it may be, because it changes for each person. I'm going to do the things I need to do to get better. And you keep telling yourself that, then you will. You have more control over yourself than you give yourself credit for. I know I have. We have so much control over ourselves. We don't have control over other people. I can't control how anybody feels. I can influence them and give them insight, but I can't control them. I can only control how I feel. You can only control how you feel. And you can view it as beautiful or scary. No one can control the universe. So trust it. Trust that it's going to be okay, because it will if you believe it's going to be okay. I don't know if that's hard to swallow or not, but it's true. At least I think it is. What you put into the earth, it'll give. What you reap, you will sow. And that goes so far into so many different scenarios. And it's all about how you perceive it. It's all about how you choose to see things. So what I want you to get out of this video is know the things you can control and control them. Know the things you can control and don't worry about it. Whatever's going to happen that you can't control is going to happen regardless how much you worry about it. Trust me, I have spent way too much time worrying about things I can't control. And it just gives you a headache. It clouds your judgment. If you're religious, pray. Any kind of religion, doesn't matter. Pray. Pray about it. It's out of your control. But trust it. Trust the things you can't control, because you'll just feel better about it. I would think. I do. Trust that it's going to be okay. I can't control it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Trust it's going to be okay. And if it's not, it'll eventually get there. Because it always does. It always does. It always eventually gets there. There's so many opportunities or situations that I've been in, and there's so many situations that people I've known have been in that have gone through sticky situations where they're like, man, this sucks. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. This is out of my control. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then months, years down the road, they look back and they say, man, that sucked. I don't ever want to go through it again, but my God, I'm glad I did, because now look at me. It always works out. Some way or another, some way, shape, and form, it works out. So trust that it will. Well, that's all I got for that. And life can just be that simple. It really can. You can just be happy with life and how you view it. There's two ways to view things. It's either positive or negative, and it's up to you. And that's a beautiful thing. You can either look at the sky and be like, oh, bore, it's raining. How depressing. Or you can be like, man, it's raining, it smells good. There's two ways to look at everything. And it's up to you the way you want to look at it. And that's the beautiful thing about life. So keep on living, guys. All of you, keep on living. And that's what I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. Like it if you liked it. If there's anything you want me to talk about, comment, let me know. And I will see you all next time. Thank you very much.